John had a sense of humor, and his laugh and that humor was contagious.
He just had such a great presence and a great mood about him all the time. And, you know, to get up day after day and put a smile on your face and be that chipper and, you know, bring a smile to everybody's faces is pretty special.
He's probably the nicest guy I've ever met. I mean, he didn't seem to have a negative bone in his body. Every conversation we had was positive, uplifting, and fruitful.
He found a tone that was, I say this and I mean it in the nicest of ways, he was kind of like your corny dad, right? Some of his jokes kind of got a little bit of an eye roll, but it always gave that comfort to a room, you know, when you kind of kick off a meeting or have to talk through some really boring legislation or something. He could always bring a sense of humor to it that made us all enjoy what we were doing and kind of give that, oh, John, kind of eye roll at the joke he told, but made everyone smile.
John was one of the most active volunteers, I think, in the 26 years I've been with NAIOP Colorado that I've seen. He was a chair of the Public Policy Committee and also served on the board of directors at that time. But one of the things I remember most about John is at new member orientation events. Even when he was no longer public policy chair, no longer on the board, everybody wanted John to be at the new member orientation meetings because he talked so plainly about how, and passionately about how you needed to become involved.
I think of him very much as an ambassador for NAIOP, right? He would go above and beyond to welcome people to the committee, to the organization, and make sure that they found a home. And not everyone does that, and it was really much appreciated.
He was very, very smart and level-headed when it came to policy, obviously advocating for the industry, but also understanding that there is another side to the debate that should also be understood and not ignored. So he was a very middle-of-the-road, level-headed person advocating on behalf of our industry.
He's going to leave that lasting impression of that somebody who really so enjoyed what they did. You know, there's that adage of, you know, if you love what you do, it's not really work. I really believe that that's probably what John believed.
He was so excited for his daughter's wedding in the last few years. I mean, the lead up to it, and every time I saw him, he was talking about what they were planning and what they were doing, and his care and love for his family was so true and came through so much in his excitement. And then after the wedding, coming back and sharing all the pictures and sharing all the stories, it was such a wonderful event for him.
You know, one of my favorite things is whenever he would talk about his daughter's wedding in India, and he would always imitate the dance of light bulb, changing the light bulb, changing, you know, and just stuff like that. And he didn't have any problems kind of being funny and putting himself out there where so many of us would feel uncomfortable doing some of those things. That was not John.
I think John would be humbled winning the President's Award, and I think he would probably think he didn't deserve it. Even though his impact across the industry was vast and deep,
I think he would really enjoy it. He was such a humble person, but also a leader. And I think the opportunity to be recognized for truly his lifetime of work on behalf of the real estate industry and his true care for his clients in his legal practice and helping them through their real estate work, I think he'd really appreciate the recognition for his work on behalf of NAIOP, which is very well deserved.
He's had such an impact for so long over the organization that it would be a crime, I think, not to honor him with this.
Every year there's a conference in Washington, D.C. That's a NAIOP conference, and we go, it's a leadership and legislative conference, and one of the days is a day at the Capitol. And so NAIOP Colorado always has a group that goes out, and we attend the conference, and then we go have meetings with our senators and representatives or their aides to talk about what's happening in Colorado and our interests.
If you've ever been to D.C., you know that the House of Representatives offices are on one side of the Capitol and the Senate offices are on the other, and you have to walk past the Library of Congress and various other buildings, and one of them is the Supreme Court. So we were walking across one day, and we get in front of the Supreme Court building, and John yells at me. And of course, I yell back, and we're having this heated argument, and the people who are with us are like frightened because we're yelling at each other. And finally, John starts chuckling, and he says, "You know, I always wanted to argue before the Supreme Court."
His legacy is certainly one of bringing people together, showing people that work can also be fun, being part of something bigger than himself, and showing the rest of us kind of how that was done.
I always called him the most connected man in Denver. And it was true, it's not just a joke. He knew everybody, and everybody that he knew also liked him. Nobody ever said a bad thing about John, and I think that was part of his secret sauce, is that he could bridge gaps, he could introduce people, he could advocate for the industry from a position of friendship.
I think John's legacy in the commercial real estate industry, and to those people who knew him even outside the industry, is one of dedication and passion, and being present in the moment and understanding the importance of every single moment.
I would love for everybody to join me in celebrating John Logan's well-deserved recognition. Let us celebrate his lifetime of achievement and commitment, and commit ourselves to carrying forward the torch of his vision, dedication, and spirit. John was certainly one of a kind.